name is Mike Derby. I am the business consultant for Focus Business Management Institute. I'm giving you an update on what we saw at the show and what our overall client's opinion was of the JCK show luxury combination. What we found was that the show was very well laid out and that it flowed through the luxury into the main diamond pavilions, the bridal, the plum club, and into the prestige promenade. It was very open, it was easy and accessible. Although it was new for a lot of people and they did struggle to find the different booths, it turned out to be very advantageous for all of them. Many of our clients came with lists of price points that they needed for their business. Most of them were going to have to come from new suppliers because they had already talked to their existing suppliers. They were quite surprised that they were able to find many of these price points with some new suppliers and some existing suppliers. Many of them commented on how easy it was to shop at the JCK luxury pavilions because everything was laid out in the cases like they would see it in their store, rather than the smaller regional shows that had it stacked in boxes and they just had to go after tray after tray. So they found that the ease of shopping at the show was just immensely more comfortable for them and easier for them to find the price points that they needed. People came back and said, I found all the price points I needed from a Malacan or from IDD or GN Diamonds or Jai International. Some people came back and said, I had old suppliers I haven't used in a long time. One was Allison Kaufman. They filled 6 different price points that I had because they had come with a plan. All of them came back and said they filled many of all of their price points, and they would have had a difficult time at the smaller regional shows. And we're very pleased with the buying experience. Several of our clients, this was their first JCK show, or one that they hadn't been to in a long time, and were amazed at the selection. What also came out of the show was many suppliers were very willing to work with the clients in stock balancing as long as their bills were paid, and if they were new clients, they were more than happy to buy or sell to them one piece at a time to fill a certain price point. An example of that was Jai International. We probably had 6 clients that came there and bought 1 or 2 pieces that they needed to fill in a higher end price point, and they were happy to sell it to them. And they do stock balancing as long as your bill is paid for. The suppliers were very receptive to us. They wanted to work with our clients because they pay their bills. And they reorder the fast sellers, and they understood the premise of that. And we had many suppliers coming and talking to us about that. There were suppliers like Incon International that normally does a lot in color, but they had many different smaller bridal lines and higher priced diamond goods that our customers had never seen before. And they were very excited about that. And they're also at a lot of the regional shows also, but they had their whole line laid out. It was easier for them to shop it. That was the biggest thing that came out of all of this. The second thing that came out of this was we spent time with at the Rappaport conference and spent about 2 hours listening to Martin and talking about the state of the diamond industry. And what came out of it, the most surprising thing that came out of it, was the residual stock that's staying in China, India, and Brazil. Generally, rough goes in, polish comes out, and there's about a 1% residual. They're now, because all these countries are developing a middle class, and there's over 1.5 billion people in these countries, we found that the residual is growing. They're buying quarter carats, they're buying half carats for personal use, they're consuming diamonds. With that said, the diamond prices are going to go up because they are consuming it. Even if a small portion from those countries consume diamonds, they're going to consume 10 to 15% of the diamonds in the world eventually. We're going to go from consuming 60% in the United States to probably down to 30 or 40%. This is going to cause a flux in diamond prices. Melly is already up. He made a point that Melly was selling for $150 a carat in India right now, and they're buying all they can get their hands on. But an important factor that he said that was very encouraging to hear was that diamond prices, although they're going up, you can still get a fair price and a fair markup for those. The rest of the world is already paying that price, and we have, as jewelers, have to make sure that we get enough markup to stay in business, to support our customers in the future. And with the dollar, the strength of the dollar or the lack of the strength of the dollar, this is going to be probably how we're going to see the business for the next 10, 15 years. We need to, and the last point he made was recycling jewelry. We need to buy jewelry off the street. We need to take the diamonds out of our product, and we need to remake it and resell it and take advantage of all the loose diamond goods that are already in the stores and on the streets. So it was very informative, and it really shed some light on where prices are going. And it was quite obvious that the diamond dealers at the shows were very concerned and jittery about the price of diamonds and what they were charging. They were not giving away diamonds at the show, to say the least. The last thing that we saw is we went ahead and we went down to the international pavilions: China, Hong Kong, Thailand, India. The most surprising thing that we saw there was the composite diamonds, the diamonds that are made up of small diamonds, a single diamond with small diamonds around them. Those were the brunt of all of the jewelry that we saw in China and Hong Kong pavilions. Melly, white gold, and these composite diamonds. Big flash, little cash, ranging from $300 up to $20,000, depending on how much diamonds was there. But very delicate looking white gold jewelry, and 90% of the jewelry we saw in China and Hong Kong looked like this, row after row after row. Now we know that a lot of the suppliers go ahead and buy from these vendors, and so that's what's coming across the pond. And we saw that many of the suppliers in the States are already reacting to that. The IDDs, the Ashis, the Gems 1, all of those, Allison Kaufman, all of those are starting to carry some form of a composite or made-up diamond to make it look bigger. I looked at one pair of earrings that were 4-carat round brilliant SI2 goods, 4-carat total weight, 2-carat each, and then I looked at a composite pair of diamonds, earrings that were 2-carat total weight. From about 6-8 inches, they looked the same size and the same brilliance. One pair was $2,000 and one pair was $20,000. Big difference. And those are going to filter into the stores. So it was really worth the effort to go down there and look at what the other countries are doing, because that's where we eventually get those ideas. They come across the pond. And that's where we found the greatest amount of jewelry that was similar was in the China and Hong Kong pavilions. So overall, the show was good. It was well communicated. We were able to take advantage of a lot of information and get it out to our clients either through texting or through the blogs. So the social media is a very effective tool we found to get information out to people, especially in a show that size. They were very helpful at the show, they were very informative at the show, and we're looking forward to another great show next year.